Hi dear students, good morning to all. How are you? I hope all are fine. Today we are going to discuss about our new chapter, coal and petroleum. Okay, first of all we can move to the important points we want to discuss in this video. First one, natural resources. It includes exhaustible natural resources and non-exhaustible natural resources. Then coal, petroleum and natural gas. These are the important points we want to discuss about. Now we can move to the chapter. We use various materials for our basic needs. Some of them are found in nature and some have been made by human efforts. So we can make a list of various materials used by us in daily life and classify them as natural and man-made. Which are the natural materials? First one, air, water, sunlight, minerals, etc. are natural materials that is very necessary for our daily life. And man-made things, natural gas, petroleum, diesel and forest, etc. Okay, does this list include air, water, soil and minerals? Yes, since all these are obtained from nature, so they are called what? Natural resources. This air, water, sunlight and minerals are natural resources. Can air, water and soil be exhausted by human activities? You have already studied about water in class 7. Is water a limitless resource? No. In the light of the availability of various resources in nature, natural resources can be broadly classified into two kinds. Which are them? Yes, inexhaustible natural resources and exhaustible natural resources. There are two types of resources. Natural resources, first one, inexhaustible natural resources and exhaustible natural resources. First of all, we are moving to inexhaustible natural resources. Yes, what do you mean by inexhaustible natural resources? Natural resources that are not likely to be exhausted by human activities are called inexhaustible natural resources. These natural resources that are not likely to be exhausted by human activities. Okay, these resources are present in unlimited quantity in nature. For example, air. Air is one of the inexhaustible natural resources. It can't be exhausted by human activity. And also sunlight. It also could not be exhausted by human activities. And also water. Okay, then we can move to second one, natural resources, exhaustible natural resources. What do you mean by exhaustible natural resources? Yes, they can be exhausted by human activity. These resources can be exhausted by human activity. The amount of these resources in nature is limited. For example, forest, wildlife, minerals, coal, petroleum, diesel, etc. These are inexhaustible natural resources. In this chapter, we will learn about some exhaustible natural resources like coal, petroleum and natural gas. Okay, this coal, petroleum and natural gas, these were formed from the dead remains of living organisms. Okay, that is fossils. So, these are all known as fossil fuels. So, what do you mean by fossil fuels? Yes, exhaustible natural resources such as coal, petroleum, natural gas, etc. are formed from where? The dead remains of living organisms or fossils. Okay, so these are all known as fossil fuels. Exhaustible natural resources like coal, petroleum and natural gas were formed from the dead remains of living organisms or fossils. So these are called fossil fuels. Okay, do you understand? Okay, so I already said that in this chapter we will learn about some exhaustible natural resources: coal, petroleum and natural gas. So first of all we are moving to first natural resource, exhaustible natural resource. What is this? What is this picture? Yes, this coal. You may have seen coal or heard about it. Yes, it is hard as stone. What are the characteristics of coal? It is hard as stone. It is hard like stone. It is black in color. Right? Okay, then we can move to the uses of coal. What are the uses of coal? Coal is one of the fuel used to cook food. We know that. Coal is one of the fuel we use it to cook food. Earlier, it was used in railway engines to produce steam to run the engine. Earlier, it was used in railway engines. For what? To produce steam to run the engine. Okay. Third one, it is also used in thermal power plants to produce electricity. It is also used in thermal power plants. For what? To produce electricity. Then fourth one, it is used as a fuel in various industries. Okay, first use is coal is one of the fuel used to cook food. And the last use, it is used as a fuel in various industries also. Okay, so these are all about coal. Then we can move to the story of coal. What is the story? From where coal is produced. Are you ready? Okay, we can watch one video.
Millions of years ago, the earth used to be covered by trees and plants. These plants died in swamps around river banks and got covered with soil and mud. As the years passed, the weight of the ground along with the earth's heat converted these dead plants into coal. To extract coal, it needs to be dug out. Coal is usually found in layers or seams underground.
So, about 300 million years ago, the earth had dense forest in low-lying wetland areas. Due to natural processes like flooding, these forests got buried under the soil. As more soil deposited over them, they are compressed. The temperature also rose as they sank deeper and deeper. Under high pressure and high temperature, dead plants got slowly converted to coal. As coal contains mainly carbon, the slow process of conversion of dead vegetation into coal is called carbonization. So we can say that what you mean by carbonization? The slow process of conversion of dead vegetation into coal. We know that about 300 million years there are dense forest. So due to the natural processes, natural calamities like flooding, etc., what happened? This forest got buried under the soil. So at the high temperature, what happened? Under high temperature and high pressure, these dead plants, dead vegetations are converted into, slowly they converted into what? Yes, coal. So this conversion, the slow process of conversion of dead vegetation into coal is called carbonization. Since it was formed from the remains of vegetation, coal is also called a fossil fuel. Coal is also called a fossil fuel. Okay, now we can move to one picture. What is this picture? a coal mine, right? Okay, when heated in air, coal burns and produces mainly carbon dioxide gas. Coal is processed in industry to get some useful products such as coke, coal tar and coal gas. Some useful products of coal. Okay, useful products from coal are coke, coal tar and coal gas. Now we can discuss about these three types. Okay, first one, coke. Coke, it is a tough, porous and black substance. It is very tough substance and also porous. Contains small holes. Porous, okay, and black substance. Second one is a pure form of carbon. This coke is a pure form. Okay, pure form of carbon. Third one, it is used in the manufacture of steel. We use this coke in the manufacture of steel. That is used in the extraction of many metals. We are use this coke in the extraction of many metals. Okay, these are about coke. These are the characteristics of coke. Then second one, coal tar. First one, it is a black, thick liquid with unpleasant smell. This coal tar is have black color and thick liquid and also have unpleasant smell. It is a mixture of about 200 substances. This coal tar is a mixture of about 200 substances. Then products obtained from coal tar are used as starting materials for manufacturing various substances used in everyday life and industry like synthetic dyes, drugs, explosives, perfumes, plastics, paints, photographic materials, roofing materials, etc. Yes, what is the use of this coal tar? Yes, products obtained from coal tar. We get some products from coal tar. These are used as starting materials for manufacturing various substances used in our everyday life and industry like, which are the industry? Like synthetic dyes, drugs, explosives, perfumes, plastics, paints, photographic materials and roofing materials. And last one, naphthalene balls used to repel moths and other insects are also obtained from coal tar. These naphthalene balls are obtained from coal tar. What is the use of these naphthalene balls? They are used to repel moths and other insects. Okay, but these are about coal tar. Next one, coal gas. It is obtained during the processing of coal to get coke. It is obtained from during the processing of coal to get coke. Second one, it is used as a fuel in many industries situated near the coal processing plants. This is about coal tar, coal gas. Okay, then these are the three products obtained from coal. Next, we are going to our second part. Yes, petroleum. You are very familiar with this word, petroleum. You know that petrol is used as a fuel in light automobiles such as motorcycles, scooters and cars, and also heavy motor vehicles like trucks and tractors run on diesel. Heavy vehicles run on diesel and also light automobiles such as motorcycles etc. use petrol. So this petrol and diesel are obtained from a natural resource called what? Petroleum. Petrol and diesel are obtained from a natural resource called petroleum. Do you know how petroleum is formed? Okay, how petroleum is formed? Petroleum was formed from organisms living in the sea. So petroleum is obtained from sea. As these organisms died, their bodies settled at the bottom of the sea and got covered with layers of sand and clay. When these organisms dead, when the living organisms in the sea dead, what happens? Their bodies settle down at the bottom of the sea and got covered with layers of sand and clay. Over millions of years, Absence of air, high temperature and high pressure. What happened? These dead organisms transformed the dead organism into petroleum and natural gas. So it is a slow process. Okay, the formation of petroleum is also a slow process like production of coal, right? Okay. Yes, this is a picture of petroleum and natural gas deposits. So we can see that it shows the deposits of petroleum and natural gas. You see that the layer containing petroleum, oil and gas is above that of water. So when we check this picture, we can see that water is at the bottom. Okay, oil and gas are above the water. Why is it so? Yes, we know that oil and gas are lighter than water and do not mix with it. So they are above the water. Okay. You know that the world's first oil well was drilled in Pennsylvania, USA in 1859. Okay, the first oil well was drilled in USA. In 1867, oil was struck at Makum in Assam. These are some extra points. In India, oil is found in Assam, Gujarat, Mumbai and high and in the river basins of Godavari and Krishna. Okay. Now we are going to the very important topic, refining of petroleum. How we refine petroleum? What do you mean by refining of petroleum? We know that petroleum is a dark oily liquid. Pure petroleum is a dark oily liquid. It has an unpleasant odor. It is a mixture of various constituents such as petroleum gas, petrol, diesel, lubricating oil, paraffin, wax, etc. So, this petroleum is a mixture of various constituents. Yes, petroleum gas, petrol, diesel, lubricating oil, paraffin, wax, etc. The process of separating various constituents or fractions of petroleum is known as refining. What do you mean by refining? Yes, separation of the various constituents. This petroleum contains various constituents, right? So, the separation of these various constituents or fraction of petroleum is known as refining. It is carried out in a petroleum refinery. This separation is carried out in a petroleum refinery. This is a picture of petroleum refinery. Okay. Various constituents of petroleum and their uses are given in the table. Which are the constituents of petroleum? First one, petroleum gas in liquid form, that is LPG, liquid petroleum gas. What is the use? Fuel for home and industry. It is used as fuel in the home and industry. Then second constituent is petrol. Its uses motor fuel, then aviation fuel, solvent for dry cleaning. It is used as motor fuel, aviation fuel and solvent for dry cleaning. Third one, kerosene. Fuel for stoves, lamps and for jet aircraft. Fourth one, diesel. Fuel for heavy motor vehicles, electric generators. We know that diesel is used for fuel for heavy motor vehicles, electric generators. Fifth constituent is lubricating oil for lubrication. Then paraffin wax for use as ointments, candles, Vaseline, etc. Seventh one, bitumen. Bitumen is one of the constituent of petroleum and it is used for paints and road surfacing. Okay, these are the 7 constituents of petroleum and their uses. Now we can move to our last topic, natural gas. Natural gas is a very important fossil fuel because it is easy to transport through pipes. This natural gas is very easy to transport through pipes and is stored under high pressure as compressed natural gas. Commonly we store it as high pressure as compressed natural gas, and CNG is used for power generation. CNG is used for power generation. Then it is less polluting and also it is a cleaner fuel. CNG is known as cleaner fuel. Why? Because it is less polluting. So it is used as a fuel for transport vehicles. Due to its less polluting, it is used as a fuel for transport vehicles. It can be used directly for burning in homes and factories, where it can be supplied through pipes. We already discussed that it is easy to transport through pipes. So due to this, it can be used directly for burning in homes and also factories. It is also used as a starting material for the manufacture of a number of chemicals and fertilizers. It is used as a starting material. For what? For the manufacture of a number of chemicals and fertilizers. In India, it has been found in Tripura, Rajasthan, Maharashtra and in the Krishna Godavari Delta. These are the places found in India. This CNG. Okay. Natural gas is also, we know that it is also used for this. This can be used directly for burning in homes and factories. Right? Yes, it is most important advantages. These are the advantages of CNG or uses of CNG. Okay. So, you have studied in the beginning of the chapter that some natural resources are exhaustible like fossil fuels, forests, minerals, etc. You know that coal and petroleum are fossil fuels. It required the dead organisms millions of years to get converted into these fuels. On the other hand, the non-reserves of these will last almost a few hundred years. Moreover, burning of these fuels is a major cause of air pollution. Their use is also linked to global warming. It is therefore necessary that we use these fuels only when absolutely necessary. This will result in better environment, smaller risk of global warming and their availability for a longer period of time. In India, the Petroleum Conservation Research Association, Petroleum Conservation Research Association, PCRA, advises people how to save petrol or diesel while driving. What are the tips? First one, drive at a constant and moderate speed as far as possible. Second one, switch off the engine at traffic lights or at a place where you have to wait. Third one, ensure correct air pressure. Fourth one, ensure regular maintenance of the vehicle. These are the tips that we have to follow. Okay, now we can move to our last session exercise. You should write this on your notebook. First one, distinguish between exhaustible and non-exhaustible natural resources or inexhaustible natural resources. Second one, what are the characteristics of coal? Third one, explain carbonization. Fourth one, what are the advantages of CNG? Thank you, students.